A cast of just four, including Anna Kendrick and Toni Collette, head up the new Netflix film Stowaway. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It, and welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new Netflix film Stowaway. You can stream it right now, and like I said up front, there are only four people in this entire movie, which we'll get to. But if you are new to Dan Reviews It, if you have just stumbled across my video and have not been to my channel before, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you aboard. Please consider subscribing, liking the video down below, sharing the video on your own social pages. But let's dive right into this movie. I'm a big Anna Kendrick fan, so I was a bit intrigued when I saw a new movie with her in it hitting Netflix's top 10. And so this is the film. It's called Stowaway. It is directed by newcomer Joe Penna, who co-wrote the film as well with this dude, Ryan Morrison. I'm not familiar with either of these guys. I looked up Joe Penna, and he's done a couple of indie movies, but nothing that I'd heard of, nothing on the caliber of this for sure. And this takes the crew, the three-member crew, of a 2-year mission to Mars, and it features Toni Collette as the ship's commander, Anna Kendrick as Zoe, a medical researcher, and then the ship's biologist, played by Daniel Day Kim from Lost and Hawaii Five-0. They finally got him out of Hawaii, and now they put him up in space. But I said there was a cast of four, didn't I? So the main plot of this film revolves around finding this accidental stowaway named Michael, played by Shamier Anderson, who I am not familiar with, but he is on Winona Earp, which I know is a pretty popular show. And so he was the launch plan engineer, but somehow, due to some circumstances, got caught up on the ship during its launch, and at first they're not even sure if he's alive, so they sort of revive him and wake him up, and the crew begins to bond with him, but they soon figure out that Michael inadvertently destroyed this device, which scrubs carbon dioxide from the air on the ship, and without that, they are going to have some real problems because they can only last so many days without finagling some things that they're not quite sure how to do. A couple of interesting things about this movie when they're talking to home base. I'm not sure if it's Houston or whatever, the famous Apollo 13. Houston, we have a problem. I don't know if they're talking to Cape Canaveral or whatever, but whoever's on the ground, we don't ever hear their side of the conversation. We don't hear anybody on the phone. There's no video monitors with anybody. It's just these four people sort of reacting to, we assume, whoever, but people that really aren't there. And so we only hear one side of that conversation. We only hear the side of the crew on this ship. So that I thought was an interesting technique as well. Usually we'll see or hear at least somebody saying, okay, well, here's what, here are some options. Here's what we can do, whatever. We didn't get that. And I thought that was an interesting choice. It's one of the choices I liked about this film, but there's several that I really did not care for. For one thing, it is a very, very methodically paced film. It is quite slow. It's nearly 2 hours in length, and I think you could have easily shaved off 20 minutes plus. Even some of the tracking shots are just very, very, lingering and long, and for me, it was too slow of a burn for sure. Now, that actually leads into one of my other positives for the film, is that when certain people go outside the ship to, try and solve the problem in this other way that they've come up with, there are some really gorgeous shots of space and of, sort of the different, not wires necessarily, but, the different poles and stuff that are attached to the ship that we see people, climbing up or whatever. There's some really, really cool looking shots, but there again, it takes too long to get there. Yes, it's beautiful. We got it. We don't need to linger on it for an entire, 80 seconds or whatever it is before the person starts doing whatever they're going to do. So that part is a bit of a mixed bag. But look, acting-wise, Everybody is working together quite well. Anna Kendrick doing a great job as always. Toni Collette, she really is, I think, one of the unsung actresses of our time. I think she's very, very good. She's in some of my favorite movies, including About a Boy. She probably should have gotten nominated for her role in Hereditary, which was an amazing, but the Academy doesn't like horror movies, but it was such a great role for her. And here she's donning her original accent, which we don't usually hear. Usually she's doing, an American, maybe a Brit. But here she's laying it all on, which I liked. And then Daniel Day Kim, I haven't seen much of really since Lost because I didn't watch Hawaii Five-O. And I know he's done probably a few things since then, but he was on a major network television show for like 8 or 9 years. So he was kind of wrapped up in that. And then this other dude, this Shamier Anderson, I don't know at all, but he was good as well. And there's some very interesting conundrums emotionally and mentally that come up in the process of this because, they may all die or maybe, Michael needs to sacrifice himself. And so there's a lot of interesting things at play here of like, who stands for what and what are we going to do about the situation? It's a very interesting situation. And everybody handles it differently, which I also think is interesting. And, Toni Collette as the ship commander, she seems to be a little bit gruff and more unfeeling possibly than the others. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, she's got to command the ship. Her number one priority is to help as many people as she can get to their destination. And so I think there's a lot of interesting things at play here, but definitely too slow of a burn on some of these shots. And the as much as I like the acting and everybody does sort of have their own individual character, each character sort of stands for something, different. They are a bit stock in that regard as well. There's not a whole ton of nuance to their characters. I didn't love that either. But I think if you shaved 20, 25 minutes off this runtime and maybe got to some of the problems a little quicker, and it sort of just ends abruptly too. I think it's a nice ending, and I won't say anything about it, but I think it is a nice ending. It's a poignant ending, a bit thought-provoking maybe, but it just sort of ends in a flash. So for a movie that takes so much time to build up, it just sort of roll credits immediately, but whatever. I think overall this movie is enjoyable. I do think it's too long. I've said it, I know, a few times. But so I'm going to leave Stowaway with a B-. I think there's a lot of good things about it, but a little bit too slowly paced for my liking. So that will do it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.